High pressure is rolling into New Zealand. Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our Tuesday weather update recorded on February the 20th. Well, we've got this big high rolling on in. It means slightly cooler nights and mornings, but still pretty mild afternoons. And it's not going to linger too long. This big high in the Tasman here, drifting in across the country, but it'll be gone as we move in towards the weekend. And behind it comes windy, hot nor'westers and a cold front as well, bringing rain to the west coast with heavy falls, and then it'll move up the country. The other feature on the map, a couple of lows up here, sort of looking down on us. They are stuck up there for quite a while. Our Pacific Islands update is out today, and we're talking about all this low pressure, which is stuck up in the tropics. It's going to be up there for the rest of February, and some chance that it might come down to New Zealand in March. We could certainly do with a low pressure zone coming into northern New Zealand. It is very dry around the top of the country and around central parts of New Zealand as well. But this big high is the next main feature that is about to come on through. So this is where it looks by the time we get to this evening, 7 o'clock tonight, parked out here in the Tasman. A lot of cloud underneath it, still fairly sunny for many parts of the country. Now this is the next 48 hours animation showing the high moving in, and by the time we get to Thursday evening, 7 o'clock in the evening, the center of this system is already east of us, so it's moving along. That's kind of good news. The places that are dry at the moment, what we don't want is big high pressure zones like this one to park over us for several days. It's good to see them moving through because it allows low pressure like this one to come in behind it and bring in some rain. But the downside is we're going to have this big windy nor'wester that'll be developing by the time we get to the end of the week. So we've got a bit of rain coming through. Most of it's up here in the north around East Cape, where you're getting about 20 to 30 millimeters. Now it might go a little higher up in the hills, but generally speaking, that's what we're seeing. And then across parts of Bay of Plenty, sort of stopping before it gets to about Tauranga and Mount Maunganui, you're getting about 10 to 15 millimeters as well, but it's very patchy. Not everyone will get that. Some will have less, some might even get a little bit more, but that northeastern corner of the North Island is where we're seeing the bulk of the wet weather, and just a little bit down here in the form of showers, and then a few isolated ones elsewhere. So here we are on Wednesday. There is that little area of wet weather we were just talking about, and the high out here in the Tasman Sea rolling in. So as it comes in, that southerly flow means that the overnight temperatures are going to drop. So when we wake up on Thursday, the minimum temperatures around the country actually a little bit down on where they've been in some places, although Auckland's still pretty mild, but it's been up around 19 degrees, so 17 will be welcome. 14, that's kind of cool for Whangarei. Now these maps don't show inland areas. Big thanks to the weather company. We're working with them now, and we're going to get a few more inland locations put on here. So you get sort of just a general feeling for it. Obviously, if you need your local detail, that's why we've got two websites and our new app, is so that you can get that high level detail. But generally speaking, slightly cooler in many places, but Wellington and Auckland look to be the mildest. So on Thursday, why is Wellington milder? Well, there's a northerly wind or a northeasterly wind in that area at the moment. Auckland generally quite mild due to all the water around it. It's almost like an island, Auckland. It's only a kilometre wide in 2 or 3 places. So narrow land means that the coastal conditions will dominate around Auckland, which is why you're seeing those mild conditions linger on. And the cooler change that sweeps around the country at the moment won't really be felt by the top half of the North Island. Maybe a degree or two down, but it's the lower part of the country that will notice it most. But by Thursday, northeasterly winds coming on through. By Friday, that's the beginning of the nor'westers coming out of Australia. You can see this blast here coming over Tasmania, Bass Strait, coming into Victoria. That will drop temperatures for you guys in Australia. And then for New Zealand, up go the temperatures. Subtropical winds or Australian winds, either way you look at it, temperatures are lifting up and the winds through Cook Strait start to build. By the time we go into the weekend, windy weather is around. Potentially a rain warning coming in for the west coast, and also wind warnings by Met Service. They're possible for these inland areas and around Cook Strait as the nor'west winds start to pick up. But as we go into the weekend, mostly dry for the North Island, mostly dry for the east. The wet weather's over here. The temperatures are going up. By the time we get into Sunday, overnight lows in the north will be around 20 degrees again, with high humidity thanks to the subtropical airflow. The front running into high pressure further north means it's very slow moving and broken up as well. There could be some heavier falls around Taranaki and some wet weather possibly coming through parts of Nelson, Tasman region as well. Keep an eye on that. It's not totally locked in. Don't get too excited about it, but hopefully some of you might get just a little bit of relief. And it'll be cooler down here around Southland, sharing the same weather pattern as Tasmania and Victoria. Victoria's been a lot cooler this summer with more southerly airflows. That's part of El Nino, and it's the same setup that you're seeing in the lower part of the South Island. More airflows out of the Southern Ocean. They're the reason why you're seeing that. So by Monday, that front comes in over the North Island, but it's very broken up. You might get a few millimeters, you might get a downpour, and it might go up over 10 or 15 if you're lucky. The front is likely to be gone by the end of the day as it runs into all this high pressure, but with the cloud and the northwest airflow, it's likely to be another warm night going into Monday night as well. And there's another weak cold front coming in down here to the very south of the country. So we're in a bit of an unsettled pattern, but generally speaking, as we said in our big 10-day video yesterday, it's mostly dry coming in for the rest of the month. Hopefully we'll get one of those lows coming down from the tropics. That would be pretty good if we can get that in March. We are seeing some modeling that suggests that, but it's definitely not locked in. Don't forget, please download our new app if you haven't done so already. Thank you to everyone who has. The weather conditions we've got at the moment, really good for testing the wind and temperature alerts. They're the most accurate on the app. It says in the app, if you go to the left-hand menu, please read the FAQ. It really explains why the rain forecasts are a little bit patchy sometimes, but I think as we go into the winter months, you'll find that those rain alerts that we have on our app are more accurate. That's because the rain moves quicker at that time of the year. It's more predictable. This time of the year, it's so patchy, so hit and miss that our mountains and ranges break it up more. And that's why we're working with Met Service. We want to bring in these real-time rain alerts. Nothing to do with forecasting, then it's actually what we see on the radar, give you that alert through our new app. So it's not in it yet, but your support now, especially for those who get for the paid pro version, your support now is helping us build that next version, which we really hope we can get out in the next year. So fingers crossed on that one. That is all from me for today. Don't forget though, our Pacific Islands update is also out, taking a look at the weather right around the Pacific for the next week ahead.